Boy, this is a loaded question. So, who is the most important member of the band? And when I ask that question, I mean Queen, Van Halen, everybody. Almost every band that's been out there has lost a member of the band for one reason or another. Why do some choose to carry on with the same name? Who is the real driving force of a band? So this comes up because I see a lot of bands out there that some are touring with no original members, some are touring with one, some are touring with, longtime members, but not originals. When does it matter anymore? Or does it matter? Is it just keeping the spirit of that band alive in the live setting, concerts and stuff? And why do some new members get welcomed with open arms and some don't? There's a lot of bands out there touring with all kinds of different members. And I think for me what happens is when a member leaves, the sound changes. And the sound should be changing on all the albums in certain ways. You still want the stamp of the original band. You want that sound, but I don't want to hear the same album over and over again. Do you? And that's when I lose interest in a band. It's when they just keep playing the same playbook on their album as they do for the last one. Or if they find success with a certain sound, they just stay on that. But there's so many bands out there with members that change. And again, who gets to carry that name? Perfect example. There's many, but I'm just going to use this one off the top of my head because I know that they were both kind of fighting for the name. It's Queensryche. So Geoff Tate and Chris DeGarmo left the band. Chris DeGarmo just kind of stopped playing. Geoff Tate kind of continued on his own while the rest of Queensryche, Eddie Jackson, I think Scott Rockenfield was still in the band, and Michael Wilton, who were all the original members, they wanted to continue as Queensryche, and I believe Geoff Tate also wanted to use the name because it's what's recognizable to people is the name I get. Is that why they use the name? When I ask these questions, I'm not looking for an answer. These are some things that I think about when it comes to music and I'm listening to a band. And we're all getting older, and a lot of the bands we grew up with, and I grew up with, and my generation grew up with, a lot of those artists aren't here with us now anymore. So the nostalgia of a band is still there, and I understand that's what keeps some of these older acts out there. Some don't do it, and I totally respect that. And I think, you know, if you want to be remembered, you want to go out on your own, and not because there was no demand for it. But again, who is the most important member of the band? Like Queen. Everybody thought Freddie Mercury was irreplaceable, and they got Adam Lambert there and touring and playing shows, and people are loving it, and they're going out as Queen. And it's only Brian May and Roger Taylor that are the original members. Deacon isn't there, and Mercury isn't there. So is it just because you have a guitarist and a drummer from the original band? Is it because you're the singer and you're the only original member? Who gets to decide that? Is it the fans? I just think of, there's many, many bands out there that members change and people don't care. And then there's many bands out there where it's a struggle. Perfect example, Van Halen. Another band, irreplaceable frontman, Dave Lee Roth. How could you ever get rid of him? They'll never be Van Halen. In comes Sammy Hagar, and they were just as successful, if not more, than the Dave Lee Roth era. So again, and then they come back to it's this, sometimes it's a revolving door. But again, to me, it's when can you use the name? Is it a legal thing? Is it a personal thing? I know all of it's, logistics and legal. But in my way of thinking, I'm just thinking about it in the everyday. Like, we have a band, I leave, and you keep the name. Excuse me. Who's right there? And I'm not using me as an example. I'm just saying in general, you have a band, you leave, and they keep the name, or vice versa. Somebody leaves and they want the name, and you say, no, we're keeping it. How does that work? Again, guys, this is, it's the only reason I ask this is because I see these bands, and sometimes most of them are older, that they're holding on to something with the name, instead of just going out there and playing rock and roll. You're getting out there and you're arguing. I see all these legendary bands are just fighting and fighting because they never stopped. They never allowed themselves to break. And instead they want to kill each other because we all have different personalities, probably more so in today's society than it used to be. But seeing these legendary acts just talk shit to each other, it's terrible. And to me, it's not the way to remember a band. You really want to keep special memories for these bands, because they're not going to be here forever, even though it seems like at certain points they are. My favorite band probably of all time is Pink Floyd, and it just seems lately, again, there's more bullshit talking. There's more. It's as a fan, it's you want to see these guys happy. I don't necessarily need to see them play together again and call it Pink Floyd. Rick Wright's not there. I don't know. I was always more drawn to the David Gilmour sound than the Roger Waters. I love Roger Waters. I love his music, but the Pink Floyd that I'm really attracted to is the David Gilmour sound. And just ironically, I have a shirt on today, but that's just an example of there you go. There was two entities wanted the same name, or one entity didn't want the other one using that name, and it's a whole legal battle, and it just causes all these problems. So that's my deep thought for the day. And then, again, if you watch some of my videos, I try to bring a little humor into this. I'm not always serious, but this is kind of a topic that, you know, it's fun to discuss because everybody's going to have their own opinion, and it's not the end of the world. Everybody's opinion is right because your opinion is the only one that matters. So, homework, who's the most important person in the band? And we'll see you in the next video, guys. Peace.